Hello, namaste, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Cricket for Us. We get the latest cricket news, and today we're going to talk about all things Pakistan cricket, domestic circuit, as well as the international, but more concentrated on the domestic side. And I've got a very, very special guest who I really want everyone to know about a lot more. First off, he's in the community for Southern Punjab, the Southern Punjab Cricket Association. He has been the digital head for Multan Sultans. He's been on Grassroots Cricket for quite some time, bringing in amazing guests, amazing interviewing skills, amazing interviews. Please do check them out. I'll leave him in the description below. And last but not least, he's a Man U fan. So something that, we definitely need to talk about on Cricket Channel. Assalamu alaikum, Hassan bhai. How are you doing, man?
Assalamu alaikum, Masjid. Such a pleasure to be here. I'm very well. I really love watching your shows. I was going through them the other day again. I was going through the past stuff, the stuff with Jamie Alter, all the stuff on West Indies. It's so wonderful to see someone like you, putting such interesting, unique content out there. And for me, it's really a great privilege to be interviewed for a change, as opposed to be doing the interviewing. And thank you very much for your kind words. I'm really humbled.
No, of course. I'm a fan. Like I've said to you on phone calls, I'm a fan. So I'm really glad to have you on. So let's start from the beginning. How did you get into cricket? How did you get into the cricketing atmosphere, especially in Pakistan? How did all that begin?
I think the question should be, how would I have not gotten into cricket? I come from a cricket obsessed family. My late grandfather was obsessed with the game. I believe he played at a decent under 19 level before partition. He's known as a big burly fast bowler and a guy who liked to just hit the ball where he saw it. And then my late uncle Nawab Hassan Hussein Qureshi was a grassroots cricket stalwart in Pakistan. And he is where it came. There was no option of not liking cricket. We played cricket 7 days a week. And then if there was an off day, we played cricket on Eid. Like people would be in their Eid dresses having lunch. We'd be out in the garden, just choti si game. And then 7:38 is when we'd be going back. We're four brothers. We played cricket in London. We played cricket in Multan. We played cricket in Lahore. I played in school. All my friendships are based around cricket. It was just all encompassing. And then the 92 World Cup happened. And I was 10 years old, 11 years old at the time. And I think that fever kind of, I want to say till 99, till the 99 final, I don't think I missed a game of cricket. Wow. I don't think I genuinely missed a game. Anybody could be playing cricket anywhere. I was telling you a little earlier off screen, my mother's side is from Peshawar. They weren't so into their cricket. And even when I'd go to them, they had to put a satellite dish so that I could watch India play South Africa in the winter holidays. I didn't miss a single game. Australia played, England played. I watched. I was lucky enough to go to a few games. Cricket was all encompassing, Asjad. It was everything. Maybe kept us out of trouble. I'd like to think, we were just not interested in anything except cricket, maybe food, cricket and food. And that was really it. And it just remained with me. If I wasn't watching cricket, I was reading about cricket. If I wasn't reading cricket, I was bothering greats. I was very lucky to meet people like Majid Khan Saab. I was lucky to meet Prime Minister Imran Khan Saab when he was playing cricket. When he wasn't, anywhere I'd run into anyone involved in cricket, I'd chew their ears until they said, "Yeah, bas kar de, stop asking us about cricket." I was just that curious kid who wanted to know so much about it. So I guess it's really a legacy of that. And it was just very lucky growing up in Multan. I was born in London. Even in London, when we were there in the summer, my grandmother was just going crazy because her beautifully manicured lawns would become cricket pitches where these four boys were always playing. And we would drag my cousins in, drag the neighbors in. People who didn't play cricket had to play cricket with us also. So just mad about cricket, really. Have been since then and are till today.
That's fantastic. Honestly, that's great, because I'm the youngest of four brothers as well, and we were a cricket crazy household for a little bit of time. But then obviously I'm the only one who stuck around with the game, but everyone else is like, yeah, Pakistan harna shuru ho gaya, like let's stop watching. But yeah, definitely that's great. Thank you for giving that in-depth background on yourself. And honestly, based on that, it kind of makes sense why you were attracted to certain types of teams, considering Multan Sultans in Southern Punjab. So let's talk about your tenure with your tenure with Multan Sultans, which is a great name for a franchise, I must say. How did that come about, and what was your role within the franchise?
So when the franchise had first started, before it was bought, when the very first year, I've known Haider Azhar, who is the general manager at Multan Sultans, for a very long time. At that time, I was working somewhere else. Heather and the Sean Group, who were the owners then, the Sean Group had reached out. Nothing came of it. I was obviously a fan. Being from Multan, I was always going to support the team. I do remember sending them lots of messages about the choice of kit, complaining about the songs, saying, hey, where's the Saraiki? What's all of this? I was in their air all the time. So I think maybe they were like, acha isko nahi rakhte. Let him stick to just being a fan, because if this is how annoying he is as a fan, imagine working with him. And then when Ali Khan Tareen, who I've known for a very, very long time, we're very old family friends. When Ali bought the team, he called me. I remember he'd gone to finalize everything and got finalized quite late in the day. And then we met up and Ali said, right, when can you start? And that really was that. We just sat down. I think we had a 30-second conversation. Ali said, right, you're the man. You get on with this. And he had a vision for the team. Ali and Alamgir Tareen Saab, when they bought the team, they had a vision, they had a plan, and it was really wonderful to be involved in that. My role as the head of digital was to oversee our social media, but it was a little bit more than that. It was about following, making sure that the vision that the owners had for the team came through in everything we did. And we wanted to be representative of the region. I'm not going to get political, but of course, sometimes people say the Southern Punjab, in the larger context, doesn't maybe get as much of its due or whatever. But we wanted to be the team of the fans. We wanted to be the team that represented the region, not just the city. For the owners, it was very important that the entire region was represented. So we wanted to make sure that any content that we put out, all the things that we did, the way the kit was represented, the people that we spoke to, when we sold the team to potential players or sponsors, that it was very important that that came through. And obviously, we worked with a lot of wonderful people who worked with it, but a lot of them were not aware of Multan or the region. People would come in and say, all right, so like what's spoken here, Sindhi or Punjabi? So it was just a case of talking to them and telling them, being from the region, being cricket mad. And then it wasn't just myself or Ali. Taimur Malik was involved. Taimur is also part of the Southern Punjab Cricket Association, another Multani, another guy with a lot of love for the region. So just being part of that team, and we didn't have a lot of time, Astrid. I think it was on the 25th or the 26th of December that the team was actually bought, and the PSL started 2 months later. So we didn't have that much time. We wanted to make sure that the content that we were creating online and the vision that we had was in line with what the fans wanted. So we went and engaged the fans. We drove the length and breadth of Southern Punjab, went to all the districts, all the regions, met the fans. They were so excited. They were so happy. And we had a good team, but for a freak injury, we would have had Steve Smith possibly play. A lot of people forget that Steve had signed on with the team, but then he got injured playing the Bangladesh Premier League, couldn't come through. But it was just a very surreal moment for me. And it was, I don't think I ever stopped being a fan. Every time I was there, I remember we drove down to Multan. We flew out from Multan when it might have been easier maybe to fly out from Lahore or Islamabad or somewhere. And just the fans at the airport, all of us in our Multan Sultans gear, they were looking at the players. Muhammad Abbas was there. Big Muhammad Irfan was, and he's big. Let me tell you, I think it was tough fitting him in that plane because Irfan Bhai is big. And just seeing all of those, and then the wonderful young talents we had like Muhammad Ilyas, all of these guys. So just being with them, being a part of that environment was really rewarding. And as someone from the region, it was really rewarding to see that the vision was something that was region-centric and aimed at promoting the culture and the region to the best of our ability.
That's exactly what you did. So congratulations from a Pakistani supporter and Multan Sultans supporter, not officially, obviously. I'm Islamabad United. But,
royalty.
In terms of
PSL royalty.
In terms of a fan, I think it's well documented that Multan Sultans is the team of the people. And prior to New Zealand cancelling coming to Pakistan, I think New Zealand and Multan Sultans kind of shared that opinion that no one would ever be upset when Multan Sultan won a match. So as you start, as they started to get a lot more players, a lot more traction, you realize that the quality of Pakistani blood, the Pakistani contingent, was very strong. You mentioned a name there, Muhammad Ilyas, a very young player, and he burst onto the scene. And you had, Muhammad Hasnan, you had, there was a few more, you had Haris Rauf, you had a few, Shaheen Afridi as well, on top of that, all around Pakistan. But in Multan, you had Muhammad Ilyas starting off, and it was like, he's not bowling 150 Ks, but he'd still do exactly the same thing these other guys were doing and impress every single time. That's just one name out there. you've got right now Mohammad Rizwan in that kind of bracket. So honestly, I think what you did from what I've seen in your tenure with Multan Sultans, it's a great achievement, and definitely the team for the people. And everyone I speak to who's watched the PSL, and everyone I speak to who has watched PSL happening in Multan has told me one of the best experiences for them watching on TV was a match in Multan where Multan Sultans was playing, or any match in Multan. It's been amazing to watch. So definitely, I would have to give you some sort of credit. I know you might say no, pass on the credit to Ali Tari. Like,
No,
you're gonna pass it
I
on, but
think
definitely.
you do pass on the credit to the people that are involved. Heather Azhar has done a fantastic job. I really think he's done a brilliant job. His entire team now have done a really great job. You know, they're champions for a reason. They work very hard. I know
Mhm.
people sometimes like to think it just clicked. You know, we had that moment. We didn't start off very well here, but we had the players. You see people like Shan Masood, just you see people like Mohammad Rizwan, like you said, Sohaib Maqsood, seeing him do well, it's so good because he's a Multani. You know, he's a
Yeah.
pure Multani. He's born and bred. Just watching him succeed. And Ashad, you spoke about the matches. I was very lucky to be at all three games in the PSL before the coronavirus pandemic in Multan. And I count myself very lucky. I've been to India-Pakistan games in Lahore. We haven't won any, so I'm not going to any in the future because I've three games, three losses. We won the test match, didn't win the one days. I've been to see Pakistan play in Gaddafi Stadium. I've seen them. I'm one of the few people who saw the game against Zimbabwe in Karachi at the Defense Stadium. That wasn't even played at the National Stadium. We didn't
Wow.
even want to give them that opportunity in 1994. I've watched cricket in Faisalabad. I've watched cricket in Pindi. Those games in Multan, the atmosphere, the feeling, just watching Imran Tahir running into bowl, getting the wicket and running. And I can't explain it to you. I saw it pitch side. I saw it in the stands. I saw it high up in the stands. You know, each day I was somewhere different. It's indescribable. It was really the atmosphere, the feeling, and the fact that in the crowd we had people. I ran into people who told me they'd flown in from the US just to
Wow.
watch Multan play. They'd flown in from Canada, and then I said, "Oh, are you from Multan?" They're like, "No, but Shahid Afridi's playing, and this is our team." And you know, they had the jerseys. It was a surreal experience watching these people recount their stories, and it was just I wish I could bottle the atmosphere of all 3 days, not just one, not just one game. You know, the game against Quetta when Watson went ballistic, I thought for a
Yeah.
second, we're going to lose here. It's not going to be fun, but we won the game. All 3 games, if you could bottle up that atmosphere, take it anywhere with you for the rest of your life, I think any of us would do that. It was absolutely magical. And of course, I have to put this out there because I have a lot of Lahore Qalandar supporting friends. I saw Multan beat Lahore Qalandars in Gaddafi Stadium, which was also a lot of fun.
I knew you had to bring that up in some way, shape, or form, but that's great. Honestly, the atmosphere again. I mention this almost every time I talk about Multan. It's just electric. It's great. It's not like even though a lot of people might compare it to other things, but I think if you had to compare it to anything else, it would be like WrestleMania in wrestling terms, like that kind of
Absolutely.
quality. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So, how did you end up at Southern Punjab? Because I must say, Southern Punjab, the talent they have is great, but they just seem to not be able to pull it off in these types of tournaments or leagues, domestically, obviously. What is it about Southern Punjab that maybe drawn you into it, or was it just a lateral shift from I'm in Multan Sultans, we'll go into Southern Punjab? How did that shift transpire?
Well, Ashad, I'd left Multan right at the end of PSL 5.
Yeah.
I didn't continue. I still worked with the team from time to time as a consultant, but I didn't continue in that role. And then I had a little bit of time. Obviously, I had other interests, was doing things. Again, with South Punjab, it's that man Ali Khan Tari. Ali was obviously part of the committee. Ali has done so much wonderful work for grassroots cricket. I would really love for people to just understand how much time and effort he puts in on his own to improve cricket in the entire region. He wants to make cricket accessible. The quality of the facilities in Lodra, and with the greatest of respect to Lodra, it's been a district that before Ali had put all this time and effort into it, they hadn't even produced a first class cricketer because the facilities weren't there. Now you're looking at those facilities. You're looking at the kind of level of coaching that these kids are getting. And then the talent is shining out. They're coming forward. So when I knew Ali was involved, our chairman, Muhammad Anis Khwaja, and I go a long way back also. We were classmates in Multan. Anis is another person with a huge passion for Multan. Look, I think he's someone who could have been anywhere in the world if he wanted to. He could have been in any capital city, and yet he's 100% in Multan. Multan is his heart and soul. You know, his heart beats for it. His family have done so much for the city of Multan. Taimur Malik, who I mentioned earlier also. So these are people, they're not just my friends. They're people I respect immensely. And they're people that I know are committed to the betterment of the game, of the region. Ali and Anis in particular have done so much work for women's sports. They've done so much work for girls' sports. These are people who are going to take Southern Punjab and Multan into the future. So when the invitation came, and honestly, I said it then, I'll say it now. I don't think I was worthy. But the fact was that I think because of my connection with the city, because of my connection with the region, maybe because they thought, yeah, this is the guy who we can ask about what happened in what match back when, so maybe for that reason. And then, of course, the vision involving people and those of us wanting to take cricket in, because look, cricket has reached a new age. In the digital age, no matter who you are or what you're doing, you can't really afford to hold back and have archaic attitudes. So when Ali asked me to be a part of it, it was a no-brainer. It was one of the biggest honors of my life. Because of the pandemic, I haven't been able to be as hands-on on ground as I would have liked. But I've tried to make sure that I'm a part of it. The Cricket Association has done amazing work, Asjad. From taking over the stadiums, going there, putting in the effort, working on things, making grounds, involving schools, involving the local authorities. We've hired some really wonderful people. And the best part is, and it may be a bit biased, but the best part is we're hiring the people and getting the people from the region. We're not looking outside. And you have to promote from within. You have to promote the people who have the passion for the game. And just seeing that passion, seeing it. And, I know we didn't have the best of tournaments this time around. And that's something we're looking at. That's something we're trying to understand from our mistakes. But just seeing young talent like Faisal Akram, the left-arm Chinaman bowler, that kid is special. Seeing Sharoon, who made his debut in the last game, he's not an opener. He went out. I remember talking to him and I'm saying, young man, play your game. And he goes and hits 4 boundaries in his 18 because he was like, right. So just seeing them do well, seeing these young guys who may not have had the opportunity otherwise go out and do well, seeing Ilyas, like you mentioned, seeing all of these, seeing Sohaib Maqsood, sadly, before his injury continue, all of these things really fill you with hope. And for me, the best part is that I think, and I know this is true for all the cricket associations, it's been a really great move by the PCB to give involvement to people from the regions, because nobody's going to feel for it the way someone from the region feels for it. And we were talking, look at Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, look at Balochistan, how well they did this time around. Just seeing the region long term, these are the people who are going to take the players and the game forward. And just if I can play even a small part of it, play a very small part of it, in seeing any of these kids, inshallah, boys and girls, go on and play for Pakistan, then you can say you've done justice. And it's wonderful to be involved. It's a really great group of people. And the vision long term for the chairman, for Ali, for Taimur, for all the people who are involved in it, it's wonderful to see. And just being part of that is both inspiring and humbling.
It's humbling for me to be able to speak to you about this stuff, Hassan bhai. So honestly, I completely understand where you're coming from, and I just want to say something. You said you feel as though you're not worthy. I'll tell you, when Thor thought he was not worthy, that was when he was worthy. Okay, so let's just keep that in the back of your mind.
I'm going to need a bigger hammer. I'm going to need a bigger hammer than his. But it's definitely something. I think we need to push ourselves. I need to try and always. My philosophy towards cricket was based on everything my late uncle taught me. My late father was a bit laid back. My late uncle was an ex-army man and very intense. Even female family members would get an airful if they dropped a catch. So he was and that's how we always played the game. And I never played it at a very high level, but that always stayed with me, that I was very lucky to be exposed to so many opportunities. It's only fair that we can create the opportunities for the talented kids that we have in the region and across Pakistan. And when you have opportunities and the young ones come forward and fulfill their potential, it gets better for Pakistan. And obviously, in the long term, we want a successful 6 successful associations equals to a much more successful Pakistan team, and that's something all of us want. I think we really want the success to come back, inshallah, because I know it's fun being the Maverick team. One day winning, but I'm a bit tired of that now. I just like us to win a lot of games, lots and lots and lots of games in a row, and then we can go back to being crazy like we used to be at times.
And I love how you drew that comparison, one day hot, one day cold. So Southern Punjab is the actual Pakistan. Okay, that's the thing. That's exactly who they are. And I just wanted to ask you with regards to, considering the pandemic and everything, how did everything start back up? Because Pakistan was the first country to actually complete a full domestic season during the pandemic, or even in that phase where the pandemic was slightly eased. So do you think, not do you think, but how did you manage that, or how was that managed from a Southern Punjab perspective?
Well, I think mostly everything was managed by the PCB, and they did a fantastic job. They created bubbles. It took a great effort from the young players to be involved in the bubbles, but they all went out there, and then we saw that they were very stringent in their testing. They were very particular about it, and then of course there was a great desire to get back out there to play. At that time, of course, our team shape was slightly different. We still had Shani, we had Zaid Mahmood, we had a couple of other players. This year, of course, we've had more exciting additions in Azam Khan and Naseem and Usman Salahuddin, who really is a fantastic talent for red ball cricket. And I hope that the plan is to give him the opportunity to showcase himself, because he really is a proper red ball cricket player. And I think we need those kind of players. And he's still young, and he's played a couple of games for Pakistan. He's hungry to do more. He's really hardworking. So as I think the PCB deserve a lot of credit for starting the game back in Pakistan. They deserve a lot of credit for going to England at that time. Sadly, was obviously not reciprocated. And they deserve a lot of credit for going to New Zealand at that time, where again, just Shani was talking about the other day, the great, when people started saying, look at them breaking the rules. It was just a couple of the guys without their masks for a couple of moments. It wasn't like they were, doing the haka in the middle of the garden. And cooking big barbecues. So I think our players went through a lot, and they made the sacrifices, and it's really the spirit of sacrifice within the PCB. And I really want to take this moment also to talk about the fact that, look, a lot of us, we are always very first people to criticize the PCB, but they have people who put in a lot of hard work. When I saw up close how hard these people worked to make the PSL happen in Pakistan, these guys did not relax for a minute. Every single day they were working. And yes, it's wonderful when a game happens, you see a full crowd, but at the same time, so much goes into it, and so much goes into it from the security forces, so much goes into it from the city government. So when our people get together, make something like that happen, and you talk to Shane Watson, you talk to the other people, and they said, look, we feel very comfortable, we really enjoyed the atmosphere, then you know what a great job they've done. And I think the PCB continued that with the domestic tournament when they brought the tournament back on, and they were very stringent with the bubbles. And again, this time around, they've been very careful, though alhamdulillah, things overall are improving in Pakistan, and I hope they continue to improve. But they did a very good job with that also. And it just shows you at grassroots level, when people put in the hard work, that anything is possible. And I really feel these last couple of years, the domestic game, we're seeing a lot of improvements. We're seeing a lot of exciting patterns of play, as well as young players. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are fearless. They're proper Pathans. They're fearless. They play fearless cricket. They're not worried what anybody thinks. And the fact that we are talking about 4 or 5 guys who still may have made it to the team, I think that shows a strength and depth in our cricket that we haven't had for a while, which is wonderful to see.
It's lovely to hear you speak about, Southern Punjab and then the rest of Pakistan and the developments in cricket happening at this very moment. Because from someone who lives in England, I know this much. You're on the actual grassroots, and I'll get to that point as well. But grassroots, and you're seeing everything happen live. So it's fantastic to know that. Thank you for sharing that. I just have 2 questions about what you mentioned. So actually, one comment and a question. Usman Salahuddin is an absolute beast of a player. He definitely is. And I'm glad that Southern Punjab has picked him up and giving him the opportunity to play as much first-class cricket as possible, because we obviously don't want another Fawad Alam, but in the wrong sense, if you know what I mean. Someone who is developing, someone who is performing consistently I just checked his stats while you were speaking. He scored over 8,000 first-class runs. He's got an average of almost 50. This guy is absolutely legit. And I've known this for a while, but obviously you lose track of domestic cricket when it's not anywhere online. But now, thankfully, it's on YouTube. It's on actually on Cricinfo as well, rather than just be on Cricinfo or anything like that. So it's fantastic from a Pakistani perspective. I wanted to ask you. You mentioned grassroots. So how did you link up with grassroots cricket? Because as you said, Southern Punjab is kind of looking at the grassroots quite a lot. And I believe probably all the other associations are as well. But Southern Punjab, I've heard a lot more about. Maybe it's just the digital side of things. You might have put a lot of news out. But honestly speaking, how did you get involved with the grassroots cricket, the actual channel, as well as, the grassroots within the specific region?
So with the Grassroots Cricket channel, I was when it was taken over by the people who are running it now, Tenure and Muhammad. Tenure lives in Australia. Muhammad lives in the US. They're cricket mad. They've been working on doing. I think they used to have an earlier channel called From the Stands. I hope I've got that right, boys. I'm sorry if I haven't. And they've just been brilliant with me. I cannot praise them enough. I cannot praise the team enough. They've believed in me, which is always wonderful for someone. It's not like I have a history of doing interviews. It's not like I have a history of hosting. I've gone on Pakistani television a few times. I've gone on other Pakistani channels, spoken here or there. But the boys have really backed me. They've believed in me. They've trusted me. They've given me the opportunity to talk to people that I have so much respect for. I got a chance to talk to Mickey Arthur, which was a dream. I have so much love for Mickey, and for the love he has for Pakistan cricket is absolutely, it just shines through in everything he says. He's one of us, is Mickey, and he really, I'll forgive him even for being an Arsenal fan. He's a huge Arsenal fan, and I want to take this moment to thank my friend Hussein Abbas Mirza, who connected me with Mickey for that opportunity, and then to talk to Basit Ali, to talk to Faisal Iqbal, to talk to Abdul Razzaq. And then I told the boys, it's very important to me. One thing, Ashad, that I hold very close to my heart, I feel that in Pakistan, we have been unfair to our regional languages. I feel that we've not really tapped into the potential. When you consider that we are all very proud of the fact that, of course, Urdu is our national language. Everything is covered in Urdu. You and I are speaking in English, which so many Pakistanis use on a daily basis. But I feel we always miss out a little bit, because every single one of us, no matter where in Pakistan we come from, is always more comfortable speaking in their mother tongue. It's just an ease. It's just something that you can do. And I told the guys that, look, I really want to do something. And I said, can I have a moment to talk to Abdul Razzaq in Punjabi? And they said, yeah, go for it. And that was one of my favorite things, because Razzaq Bhai was in his element. The whole interview we'd spoken, but when I was talking, I said, I'm going to talk about that South African innings, and I'm going to talk in Punjabi. And it's honestly, it's something that'll stay with me forever, because he was in his element. I got the opportunity to talk to Saqlain Bhai, one of my heroes, an absolute legend. Sometimes I wonder if we realize how lucky we were to see Saqlain Mushtaq in his prime, because he was something else. And I got to talk to him in Punjabi about the Chennai test. And he's telling me, and I'm just sitting there thinking, my God, this is so fantastic. So the fact that they, and then we weren't able to put it out there, but my Pashto is awful. But I worked on it with my cousins. I called my friends and said, please give me an opportunity to put a question for Sir Abdul Rahman, who is someone I respect so much, who is such a fantastic coach. And then, the opportunity to talk to him, albeit very shortly, in Pashto. So I was very happy that they wanted to take this direction, and that they trusted me, and that they really, and there's a wonderful team over there. They're churning out fantastic content. They're writing amazing content. I'm just a small part of what is a really wonderful team of people. And then, of course, that they're so receptive to ideas, that they really want to try, because like you said, Pakistani domestic cricket is no longer something that just, you read the newspaper like I used to in the 90s and figure out, I used to obsessively read the newspapers to see, okay, what happened and at that time we had like 26 teams. So I'd be looking out for Habib Bank's results, or, shipping corporation's results, because it would make a difference to me, who was playing where, because I'd be like, all right, has he got enough runs before the home season starts? Now you've got everything on your fingertips, which is important, because I think it also gives the people who want to play cricket the idea that, all right, now our domestic game is as talked about as it should be. I think when you have a strong domestic game in all facets, not just the performances, but the way it's seen, the way it's looked at. Wasim Khan said something wonderful recently. He was talking to, I think, the Barmy Army podcast, and he said, "Look, Pakistan, don't underestimate cricket in Pakistan. There's two daily night shows every night about cricket on the news. Cricket is not something that happens in passing. Most of us will sit and put a show on, whether it's in Urdu, sometimes it's in English, and we'll watch through it. And yes, sometimes some of the ex-players, I think they need to calm down a little bit. Some of them, I'm not taking names, but other times you have the experts and we're talking about it. So our domestic game is picking up and getting the respect that it deserves. So Grassroots Cricket wanted to cover that, make sure, and I think they do a great job. I'm going to take this opportunity to plug a little bit of my own work. I've had an opportunity to write about 90s cricket. Like everybody else who grew up in the 90s, I'm stuck in the nostalgia. I don't want to get out of it. And I wrote a couple of articles for them as well. It's been very humbling. It's been very wonderful to contribute to both remembering Pakistan cricket's past and looking at where we stand today in Pakistan cricket today. And I think when we give our grassroots cricket, domestic cricket, the respect that it deserves, and we cover not just domestic cricket, we cover club cricket, we cover junior cricket. It's very important because, like those of us, as you mentioned earlier, as a Manchester United fan, I'm well aware about what happens in the youth teams only because United covers it so well. My app is constantly telling me what the youth team did today, what the under-13s did. When I have that information, I'm better informed. It's the same for cricket. When we have that information, when you have it at your fingertips, like you said, it's there on Crick Info. You're able to read about Usman. Usman, one of the most important things to remember about Usman is something that I feel, have lost out in red ball cricket. He occupies the crease for a long amount of time. He blunts bowlers. He gets ready. Another success story I'd like to talk about, if I may, is Noman Ali. Noman has been putting the numbers out there for so long. When he made his debut against South Africa, I don't know if anybody else felt it, but I knew he was going to do well because he's been doing it time and time again. He was part of our Multan Sultans team that year. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Doesn't whine, doesn't complain, gets on with it. And he played T20 cricket to a good standard, but his domestic levels are exceptional. And people forget, I think he's got a higher first-class average. Someone was comparing it the other day, I don't know, to a top-class batsman because he's that kind of a player. 31 years old, fairly young for a spinner. Let's not forget Saeed Ajmal made his debut at 30. And look at how he's contributed to Pakistan's cricket. The series win at home against South Africa, winning the game against the West Indies on non-spin friendly wickets. So guys like this, if we weren't paying enough attention to domestic cricket, they would have been lost to the system again, as too many people were in the past. And I think that's what we hope to avoid. And as usual, I've rambled on and taken this conversation somewhere else. But the being involved with grassroots cricket has been the opportunity to exercise a passion. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to talk to cricketers. I keep tweeting Wasim bhai, I keep tweeting Vakar bhai, I tweet all of them. I said, ek mauka de de. I'm sure they remember running into me in hotels and weddings and thinking, not this guy again, yaar, bahut sar khata hai. But just talking to Saqlain bhai, talking to Abdul Razzaq bhai, talking to Sir Abdul Rahman, talking to Mickey Arthur, it's just been a dream and one I'm so grateful for. And honestly, all the love we get from people like yourselves, whose own channel is so fantastic, the content that you create is so wonderful. It's so wonderful to see our community of people doing this, not interested in one-upping each other, but interested in supporting and promoting the game. And that's the way forward. I think for too long in Pakistan, our attitude has been, how can I bring Aschad one peg down, or how can I go one ahead of him? No, I think you young people today are so focused on the overall betterment of the game that you all love, that is really heartening to see, and it's wonderful to see. And inshallah, long may it continue, because there's so many wonderful people doing such wonderful work about cricket. And I think right now we are sort of going through a golden era of content when it comes to domestic and international cricket in Pakistan. So many wonderful people to talk to. And it's really heartening, and just being a part of that environment, it's great, and I love it. I see your work, I see other people's work, and it inspires me and drives me that, all right, these guys are doing such a good job. I have to go do one better. I saw your thing on the national T20, which I know you work late into the night for, and the level of knowledge and the level of information and the level of analysis, I'm not being biased here, but I think that would not be out of place in what a lot of other sports do on television. So we may not have that opportunity on television right now, but the internet is everybody's medium. And that's why I also feel that I'd like us to make more content in regional languages, in Urdu, so it reaches more people. And I said, between us, if we can inspire one kid, just one kid, to start a podcast in Urdu, to start a podcast in Saraiki or Pashto talking about cricket, honestly, I think it's the biggest service we would have ever done to our country and to our sport. And it's something that we can be really proud of.
That is so kind of you to say. First off, I really appreciate everything you said. And I'm truly humbled, and I usually don't know how to react on these things. But what I will say is I completely agree with all of your points about, promoting cricket the best we can in Pakistan. Because once we can do that, then, just as an example, if we just compare it to India, when Indians have kind of proposed the idea of always talking about positivity in Indian cricket, we've seen how much they flourished in the past 13, 14 years. Of the fact that, I just have to prompt you and then you go on. And I don't need to ask you any questions. You're touching upon everything I was going to ask you. So it makes my job so much easier. So thank you so much, Hassan bhai, honestly, for your time. It's been an absolute joy. It's been a pleasure speaking to you about, all things Pakistan cricket, to be honest, because we've gone all around the country. It's great. And I just want to ask you one thing before we end. Is Pakistan going to win the T20 World Cup?
Inshallah, yes. I think I always have to. I'll tell you why I always have to believe. Because I've tried not believing, and I've realized that I get hurt either way when we don't.
Yeah.
But I think this is a very exciting team. I think there is a lot of ability there. I would like us all to stop putting unnecessary pressure on them. Let them, express themselves. I'd also like to take this moment, because I know a lot of our friends from across the border will watch this also, and I mean this with love and respect. Losing to India isn't the be all and end all if you win the World Cup at the end of the day. The Mauka ad is back, and again, it's very funny that in 1992 they think we didn't have anything to celebrate when we actually went on to win the World Cup, and equally in 2009 we had a lot to celebrate. So let's take it game by game. Let's not get New Zealand didn't come to Pakistan, so we have to beat them. No, you have to beat them regardless. Even if they'd come here and been your best friends, you have to beat them. You have to win every game, and we have to. I feel it's important, Astrid, that we try our best to play our most modern cricket. Now we've got a plan. We've got Babar and Rizwan at the top of the order. We have a way that it works. Then back them, back yourselves. And I wholeheartedly agree with you about positivity. We can't always be negative. We have been negative for so long. We've been negative that long. It doesn't help. Rather be positive, and then again, we might not get the results. I'm sitting here. People are going to be playing this on a loop. This guy is saying Pakistan's going to win the World Cup, or wo 2811 again. So you never know. But again, we have to believe. We have to back our players. And I think as fans, if we stop enjoying those little moments, if we start, I'm one of those people.
I love it. Thank you very much, Hassan bhai. Honestly, it's been an amazing time, right? Thank you so much for taking the time, coming onto the channel, discussing about cricket. It's been great. Thank you so much for your time, honestly.
Asad, thank you so much for reaching out. Thank you for giving me this honor, this respect. Thank you for being someone who's so supportive of everything that we're doing. It's very humbling. It's wonderful, because honestly, when someone like yourself, whose own work, it's there. You don't need me to big it up, but I'm going to big it up because it's there. I watch it. I sit there. I'm subscribed. I'm thinking to myself, all right, this is great. It's just so humbling and wonderful. And the opportunity to yap about cricket is something I never need a second invitation to. And I really hope, inshallah, I have the opportunity when things are safer, when you come to Pakistan or I come to England, to sit down over a meal and talk cricket, because hopefully that's going to be a few hours easily. I think we make a plan to start in the morning and finish by dinner time. It's been an absolute privilege. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Sounds like a plan. For everyone watching, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please do check out Hassan bhai on Twitter. I'll leave everything in the description below. Do check out his interviews on Grassroots Cricket. Again, I'll leave some of the descriptions below so you can check them out. And honestly, like I said, it's been amazing. And for everyone watching, thank you once again. Please comment below. Tell me what you think, right? Tell us why Hassan bhai is right and I'm wrong. Just tell us everything, right? And until next time, everyone, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.